Hello, welcome. Let's continue the tutorial on statistics, the graphical representation of what data. The last two episodes we began with the pie chart. In this episode, we want to move on to what they call the interpretation, how we can use the pie chart to answer questions. So, for example, the table shows monthly expenditure of family. So, these are the items being spent on rent, clothing, transport, savings, and light. And the expenditure in CDs has also been given. So, first thing we have to draw the pie chart to represent the information, then find the percentage of the expenditure that went into savings and the fraction of that went into what? Rent. So the interpretation part is what this episode is all about. But let's see the procedure we outlined in episode 29 that we follow in order to draw a pie chart. First thing is to find total expenditure. So our total expenditure is the addition of all of this. So I can have 120,000. Okay, because of space, I'll be adding all of them and put the answer in the bar. It is always right if you show the arithmetic addition that give rise to your final answer. But because I would like to manage the space to get exactly the same space for the calculation. Good. If you add that, you should be having 600,000 still in CDs. So let's say Ghana CDs in there. All right. The CDs. So let's just say the CDs in there. All right. That's the first step to take. The second step is to find angle of sector for each of the items. We need to know that it is the item divided by total times what 360. That gives us that. It is always good when a table is drawn. So the item in the first the column, expenditure in the second column, then the third column you have what we call the angle of sector. Because of space again, I'll move without the table. So angle of sector for the first one will be what? Rent. That is going to be equals to 120 divided by 600 times 360. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can I get the space in us? Okay, let's see. So that will be giving us 72. It should be in degrees. Then angle of sector for the next one is for clothing and food. So the item for clothing is 190,000 divided by 600,000 times what? 360. So we can multiply that. That will be 144 degree. Let's go for angle of sector for the next one, which is what? Transport. That will be the item for transport is 125,000 divided by 600,000 times what? 360 degrees. And that will also give you 75 degree. Then we go for angle of sector for savings. and that will also be the savings, which is 105,000 divided by 600. That will multiply by what? 360, and that will also give you 63. Then the angle of sector for the next one, which is what? Light and fuel. That will also mean the item is 60,000 divided by what? 600,000 times 360, and that will be, I think, 36 degree. For you to be sure, you add all the angles that you get. So 36 plus 63 plus 75 plus 114 plus 72, and that is exactly what? 360. So that means our calculations are all correct. That's the second step to take. The third step is to draw your circle, which we need to draw. That is, draw the pie chart. So let's clear this here. All right, so we need to draw the circle. The bigger the circle, the better it will be. You will be able to identify your center very well, and that will show the accuracy of your drawing. So when the center is drawn, remember we are to draw a radius. I'll be using that because my protractor is not transparent for me to see the lines through. Remember, we mentioned that we can do the measurement in either clockwise direction or anti-clockwise. I prefer anti-clockwise because I want to use the first reading from the center, the first reading, second reading. So I'm looking through the angles I have. The biggest one is 4. So I'm going to put the center here at the center of the circle, making this black line 4 on the radius. Then I read from the 0 to 114. I have 90 here, 100, 105, 115 is no. This is 110, 1, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 14 should be here. Then I join that point with the center to form the sector I am looking for. So this sector drawn here is 114 degree, which is representing the clothing and food. It is not compulsory to draw the bigger one first. You determine which one you want to draw, but it is always good to pick the bigger one first. So from there, we move to 75. Now this line now become my radius. That line is now the radius. So I am going to extend it so that I can see my accurate measurement. So my radius is still there. The center will be at the center. Then the 0 lines will be on the radius. I am measuring 75. So I still have to read from 0, 10, 40, we have 60, 70, 75 is here. So I have to join that point with the center to form the angle 75. So I have to indicate the 75 degree, and the item is going to be transport. So we have transport. This line now become the new radius. So I am still going to be at the center and put a radius there. Good. I'm moving to 72. This is 70, 71, 72. So now let's join the center with the point to form the sector we are looking for. Okay, so this angle also become 72 degree with the item of what is that? That will be rent, right? So the rent will be here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we are left with okay. The next one will be 63. So this still become my radius. Let me still read from there and see. The good news is that you can be turning your book over in order to maintain your radius to always be horizontal. The board cannot be turned. So we are looking for 63. So 60, 1, 2, 3. Then I join that. So the next is to measure that remaining angle. Okay, let me indicate that before. 63 degree, which is going for savings. Then let me measure the remaining angle and see if that angle will also be 36. It should be 36. If not, it means that my measurement is inaccurate. So 30, 35, 36. So I have 36 in there as the next angle representing. Now I have to write it this way: light and fuel. All right, so looking at this, this is the third step to take. We are able to draw everything, indicate everything. The fourth step is to give this a title. What do you think the title is going to be? Looking at the question, so a pie chart showing the expenditure of a family. The pie chart showing the monthly expenditure of a family. So this become the title, neatly written and underlined. That is the fourth steps. All right. Now we want to do the interpretation that we are talking about. Here, remember what we said in episode 29, which says that the sectors are just a proportion of the total angle in a circle. So if I want to find a percentage of something, what do? The percentage is going to be the fraction times 100%. What fraction? Fraction of what I'm comparing. I'm comparing a particular item to a total item, then times 100. Then a fraction will also follow the same thing. So now if I am looking for a percentage of the expenditure that goes for savings, I have to come back to savings and see what is the angle corresponding to savings. That angle is taken out from a total of what? 360. Then we multiply by 100. Or we ignore completely the pie chart and focus on the data given to us at the beginning. What is the amount spent on savings out of the total amount, which is the monthly salary, then times 100. Both will give you the same result. So let's see how that will look like. Okay, let's see. So we are looking for percentage of monthly expenditure That goes to what? Savings. Is going to be the angle corresponding to savings, which is 63 degree, total angle 360 degree times 100 what percent. Let's see what that will be on our calculator. So if we do that, you should be having 17.5%. That is if we want to base this on the angle, proportion of the angle. But we can also use the item directly. So I'm just going to write here percentage will be equals to what is the item spent or the amount spent. I think the amount spent was 105,000. Then divided by the total amount, which is the monthly income. Then multiply that by what? 100%. Let's see what that will also give us. And that will still give you what we have as what? 17.5%. So either we use the angle corresponding to the item divided by 360 times 100, or we use the item that is being spent from the beginning with total times 100. All right. Then that will bring us to the B. So we can look for fraction. Let me just say spent on rent. Remember, fraction is comparison between two things. So we are comparing the rent to what they are supposed to spend or the monthly salary. So here I can compare the rent in terms of a degree, which is going to be 72 degree divided by the total degree as a comparison. And that if we divide that to get the simplest form, that will give you 1 out of what? 5. Or we can also use the item, the amount spent on rent directly. So fraction on rent can also be the amount spent directly. I think that was 120,000. 120,000 divided by 600,000. So if those 4 zeros take care of that, 12 going to yourself 1, 12 goes into 60 5 times, and that will still give us what? 1 out of what? 5. So these are the interpretation in terms of percentage or in terms of what? Fraction. Now there are some times that we will have a different question given whereby some of the items here will be a variable. You just need to know that all of them when added will give you 360. So you add, equate to 360, then voila, you can find your variable. Alright, I think we'll take 1 or 2 examples in the next episode to buttress that aspect also. If you find it educative, share with somebody, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and bye bye.